Good evening, everybody. Welcome to On Deck here on the Fins Talk Sports Network. I'm Russ Morgan here on the new time here at 7:30 Eastern on Wednesday. We're obviously going to start off with a little somber news. Great giant Willie Mays just passed away yesterday at 93. Obviously, I never got to see Willie Mays obviously live, but everybody seeing YouTube clips and seeing all the highlight tributes of, obviously everybody knows the great basket catch, but this man was a trailblazer for integrating baseball. And for me being a scout, and a scout and, a 5-tool player, a guy had speed, hitting and everything, and hit 660 home runs. Oh no, shoot, I'm wrong on that. My bad. But 600 something. I'm sorry. I had the correct number. I think I wrote it down wrong. A 301 average, and just a hell of a ball player. 2-time MVP, 1-time World Series. Debuted in 1951. Could have, I think he could have challenged Babe Ruth for the home run record, but he had to take 2 years off for service time. So, we're talking about a man who's one of the greatest baseball players ever to play the game, and obviously a massive part of integrating baseball. That we, one of the few first guys to start integrating baseball. So, it was a big loss, but a big loss for the baseball world. It's sucks that he's gone, but for me, obviously, I grew up watching, and being a huge baseball fan. Everybody watches the basket catch that saved it down, kept the World Series, and even when you see you see the highlights of the basket catch, the awareness of him making that catch and popping up and getting the ball in to keep the runner from advancing and being, a third, which is just the awareness of a player. Yes, he did have 660 home runs. I am stand corrected. But Willie Mays, rest in peace. 2024, I think it's been a pretty tough year for losing some greats for sports. Obviously, Willie Mays just passed. We lost Bill Walton. We lost Jerry West. So 2024 has taken some great athletes from us. We had some injury news. Obviously, we got the Dodgers seemed like they're getting a little injury bug going. They lost Yamashita with right tricep tightness. He's on the 15-day out, which is that is big because he was starting to come into his own, starting to pitch well, and that's a big hit to the rotation that it was already down a Clayton Kershaw, and so you had a strong 1-2 of Glasnow and Yamamoto. Now you're going to have to rely on bringing a guy up. Gavin Stone's going to have to pitch a little more, maybe give some more innings to James Paxton. So that's a big loss because Yamamoto is starting to come into his own in the rotation. And we saw him stringing, 4 or 5 really quality starts together. Obviously, the big one for the Dodgers is Mookie Betts, who got hit in the hand, is out for 6 to 8 weeks with a broken wrist. Which is a big loss. My former co-host who was on here, he always hated when I talked about Mookie Betts because he thought I was throwing shots at him. He doesn't realize, even me being a Yankees fan, I love Mookie Betts. I think he's the best, if not the best player in baseball, the best player in baseball. He plays the right way and is just a stand-up guy. And obviously his stats show. The guy's top 5 in almost every just statistical category. So that's a big loss for the Dodgers, and I guess I don't really see it. People are talking about them underachieving so far this year because they are 46-29. I don't know how they're underachieving. You're still 9.5 games up in first place, but I guess if you spend, north of 700, million, you're on one player is a big loss and a little underachieving. Yankees, who did not have a good weekend. If Rob isn't, watching, like I said, I talked about it last week. I wasn't, even though the Yankees are the best record in baseball right now, I did think that it would be a tough series against the Red Sox because it is a rivalry, and it definitely was. Our bats kind of went silent. Our pitching did not do much, but they lost Anthony Rizzo, who's got an arm fracture. He's out for 4 to 6 weeks. I'm not worried about this. Rizzo was not hitting, not swinging well with the bat. Great defensive first baseman, but for me, for anybody in baseball, you don't play a first baseman for his great defensive prowess. If he's got, you take that in a catcher. Obviously, you saw that, Martin Maldonado with the Astros, who was there for a long time, is a defensive catcher, and he was the staple with the Astros behind the plate. And obviously, big, Garrett Cole, that was, Garrett Cole's guy, Verlander's guy. So, you see that in a catcher, not on a defensive first baseman's not going to fly. They get Garrett Cole back. He's currently pitching right now against the Orioles, which is a big series. The Yankees took that last night against the Orioles 4-2. They made it a little close. Clay Holmes liked to keep you on your toes, giving up a 2-run home run in the ninth there to Anthony Santander, but looked. Last night was good. Obviously, it's nice to get a win against the Orioles. Soto didn't, walked a lot, 3 walks, but that's what he does. But it was a big win. Obviously, we got a nice little base hit there by Ben Rice, who just called up. And but tonight, Garrett Cole's throwing against the Orioles. It's 1-1. Yeah, I know. They took 2 out of 3. Like I was, our pitching was terrible. Stroman didn't look good. Rondon got touched up a little bit, and it's a rivalry. And every time the Yankees, they had bases loaded, 1 out, and they get 1 run. You can't get 1 run on that. So they kind of went back into their old ways, but that was a good series for the Red Sox. Talking about Cole tonight, they're only in the second, gave up a ground rule double, gave up an RBI, so he's 2 hits, 1 run, no Ks. We'll see how he fares, how many pitches he goes. I'm guessing the 75 mark threshold will probably be his threshold for the day. But we shall see. And I think they want to ease him in, and I'm all for that. But I'm jacked up because it's Garrett Cole and just reigning Cy Young winner, so I'm happy and got the best record in baseball again, which I'm happy about. But adding Garrett Cole to Rondon, who's having a solid year, Luis Gil's having a rookie of the year guy, even though he's 26, rookie of the year candidate. Even looking at him, could be in a Cy Young consideration. And Stroman solid. Cortez maybe last night got a little something going, so I'm excited to that. Yeah, it was nice to see Ben Rice get a little call up. I like that, and I know a lot of people have been talking about his minor league stats for a while. Ivy League guy, so we don't see a lot of Ivy League guys in Major League Baseball. The last one was Mike Ford. But, it was nice. A lot of people, he's a catcher by trade, so a lot of people are talking about him coming up and platooning with Trevino instead of Austin Wells So I mean, it's nice to see them, and it's always nice to get a left-handed bat in Yankee Stadium. And he got his first hit last night, which is big, and in the lineup tonight. But Austin Wells for me, I'm got a big RBI double the other day. No, don't worry, I'm out. We're just talking Yankees right now. It's the best team in baseball. Wells is looking hot, but we'll get off the Yankees. Give the people what they want, even though best team in baseball. Another one, obviously, I'm super interested. When Rob was on the show, we're super interested. Paul Skeens is looking phenomenal. This guy hasn't missed a beat. You bring him up from the minors, 1 year removed from college baseball, and he's 4-0. Another really strong performance against the Reds, giving up going 6 innings, giving up 1 run with 7 Ks with the 2.29 ERA, 99 WHIP. But for me, is to see that the Reds were keying on his fastball, that their fastball, that's what they're going to jump on because that's what he's throwing. And he was throwing his secondary pitches and commanding his secondary pitches, which was big. But it doesn't look like the major league level is going to, phase him. I mean, granted, he hasn't gone up against some, dominant teams yet, a lot of AL Central opponents, but it's a very strong start. I'm going to jump in. We got a little power rankings. This was a couple days ago, could change, got the Twins at 10, still holding strong in the Central there at 4.5 back of the Indians, who, I feel like for me, I feel like the Twins are always in it. Like they always find a way to scrape their way to get a wild card, to win the division. It's just, it's, as they call them in Minnesota, the Twinkies. I mean, granted, and it was a group. Twins are, a great historic team too. That always ran into us in the playoffs every year in the 2000s. But that's a right there, and they'll be right there in the wild card, and only 4.5 back. We got the Braves they got them at 9 right now, at 41-31. You're at 9 in the power rankings, 7 back at 10 games over 500 in the NL East, which is insane. That's just going to show how good the NL East is, as the top 2 in the NL East have been. But I mean, it's still a scary team, and obviously you see it in the past. You get hot at the right time, you can go and win the World Series. Nobody thought they would have won the World Series a couple of years, but you get hot at the right time. And I mean, if Strider comes back, that's another arm, and you got Max Fried, who's looking good at 6-3, and you always got Chris Sale, who's 9-2, who's staying healthy with a 2.98 ERA and 99 strikeouts. And you're getting Ronaldo Lopez, who's a guy they probably didn't see. He's got the best ERA on the team at 5-2. So I mean, even though they are second place right now, it's a long season. I could still see him giving the Phillies, who we'll talk about later in the show, a little run for their money. We got the Royals at 41-33, that are which is 5 games back. Royals scrappy team. That's a scrappy team. Not a lot of household names besides, I guess Salvador Perez is a household name from that 2015 World Series team. But you don't have a lot of household names. You got Bobby Witt, who I'm high on, very young, and now he's batting .321, which I always like to see a small market franchise, be in there. It's always good for baseball. And you got a guy like Seth Lugo's 10-2 with a 2.4 ERA. And this was a guy coming out of the pen, throwing a spot start here and there with the Mets. So I mean, I think I hate repeating myself every week, but even though the Indians are dominant right now, looking very good, it's a wide open division. And long baseball, we got the Brewers, who are 44-26. That's just another enigma for me. That's an enigma. I kind of wrote, and I'll take the L on this so far. I wrote the Brewers off. Oh, Brewers 43-30. I apologize. That's my bad. I wrote the Brewers off right off the bat. You traded Burns. I did not think they were kind of competing. I thought they'd be sellers at the deadline. I was wrong so far, and I mean you're getting solid. William Contreras batting 304. Adames got 12 home runs. So far baseball's I guess I was wrong so far, and I'm fine. Baseball's a failing game as it is, right? We got the Guardians. I always say Indians. It's I grew up with the Indians. I'm always going to say that. But the Guardians, who are 4.5 up right now in the Central at 44-26. That's where I messed up. But I mean, you're getting Jose Ramirez, who's just a staple, and also another guy who wants to be an Indian his whole career. Which I mean, that's great because I mean, Cleveland's not a major market, so it's great. The guy wants to stay wants to try to stay with one organization his whole career. But I mean, he's 271, 18 home runs, 63 RBIs. And then, the next best average is Angel Jimenez, who's 256. And the pitching's not that dominant, but they're just finding ways to win ball games. They got the Dodgers at 4. The Dodgers are 46-29 right now. Took 2 out of 3 from my team, the Yankees, without Soto, but that's still, taking 2 out of 3 in the Bronx. If anybody's in there, wants to jump in. If anybody saw the Dodgers game last night, they won 11-9 against the Rockies, but they went up. Jason Hayward made it 9-8 yesterday, and then Teoscar Hernandez was up, check swinged, and if anybody saw the replay, they said he didn't swing, but I don't know if anybody's opinion on that. For me, I thought that was strike 3, and that should have been ball game. I mean, I thought he broke his hands. He broke the plane. So that should have been ball game. Obviously, the umpires thought otherwise. The Dodgers ended up pulling out that win. But I mean, I thought he broke the plane and his hands broke. So I mean, the umpires are human. Everybody says, the only one who they're all human. Angel Hernandez, we don't know about him. But, I mean, they're 46-29. And we'll see how they handle Mookie Betts going down. For me, I think 1 through 5, the Dodgers have one of the best lineups in baseball with Betts there. After that, they got to find someone who's going to fill that void. Who's going to step up, because I mean, if you got Ohtani. Hernandez is seeming like the offensive, the offseason pickup of the year so far. Freeman and Will Smith, who I absolutely love, great defensive catcher. He's swinging 277. If you're getting that from behind the plate, which is pretty good. But we'll see how they handle Betts going down. Was it Andy Paganis will probably step in right there and get a little time with Betts going down. Oh shoot, he's not playing outfield that much anymore. So we'll probably see former Marlin, to all our Marlins fans out there, far and few. Sorry, Miguel Rojas probably will step in there. Is easily probably one of the better defensive shortstops. So it's not like you're gonna miss something defensively. He easily could have been a shortstop and probably got some spot starts at shortstop, but Dave Roberts wants to keep on giving, when Mookie was healthy, time is short to grow in, and he's starting to grow into that role. Too bad he got hurt. We got the Orioles, who right now the Orioles at 3 battling the Yankees, lost last night at 47-25. Lost. Still haven't heard anything, but Jordan Westerberg went down running. Him and Soto collided on a play yesterday, so he was taken out of the game. I'm gonna check if he's in. Let's see, I don't think probably not. Yeah, he's not in tonight, but I mean that's still, you got Gunnar Henderson, who's turned it on this year as after his rookie of the year last year, has turned it on, and I think that's going all the way to September. That Yankees Orioles are going to battle, all year back and forth, and they play a series at the end of the year, so that will be very interesting. And they're getting, a great. You're getting, Corbin Burns is looking phenomenal, who's 8-2, and so that's looking like a steal of a trade. And if it's a 1-year rental and you get deep into the playoffs or win the World Series, that's a win. That's the way I was looking at the Soto. I was looking at Soto for a long time until I think he changed my opinion. But I mean, you got 8 wins from him, 2.14 ERA. You're getting 8 wins from Grayson Rodriguez. So I'm in my opinion, I think it's going to be a back and forth all year in the East, which good for baseball. We got the Phillies, who are 49-25, 7 up on the Braves right now, cruising, looking pretty good. You're getting Alex Baum, solid defensive third baseman, 3.06 average, 17 home runs from Harper. And the pitching staff is just, where they make their money when you got Ranger Suarez 10-1, who was definitely, a third, fourth starter last year, where now could be a front, the number one guy, the way he's cruising. And you still got Aaron Nola and you got Zach Wheeler. So I'm expecting deep run, if not a World Series for the Phillies, getting in there and winning the NL, but who knows with baseball. We do have my Yankees at 1 at 51-29. I could go on forever about the Yankees. I talked to him about before. I'm going to try to be really unbiased. I'm sorry if I start getting a little biased. I'm a Yankees fan. I'm going to have to go back into my scouting mode where I was scouting players, and I wasn't a lot, I can't really show up to a baseball game wearing a Yankees hat trying to scout players, especially if I didn't work for the Yankees. So I'm going to try to stay as unbiased as possible, especially if I'm by myself right now. But I am a Yankees fan. If I do get in that mode, that's just how it's going to be. But we got the Yankees at 1. Ben Rice got the call up last week. Garrett Cole starting tonight. 1-1 against we're tied up right now against the Orioles with a big 3-game set. Cole so far stat line is he's 2 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, 1 ER. We have 1 strikeout, 1 walk. Soto's 0 for 2. Volpe's 1 for 1. Judge is out of the lineup, as Judge got hit in the hand yesterday, but The X-ray came back negative, so he should be back in the lineup very shortly. The other news is the Mets have rattled off, which is, the Mets are obviously not in my power rankings. They've rattled off 7 in a row, and they're 35 and 37, which is huge because the Mets started really slow, which will be another one we talk about later. If some buyers and sellers, and the trade deadline is we're a little month away from the deadline, a little over a month, with buyers and sellers, and we'll see if Cohen wants to sell. Obviously, they sold last year. We'll see what happens, but we'll move into some. We got some trade deadline. For me, I think we'll slowly start seeing a couple moves here and there. We'll see with some players slowly starting to move, some expiring contracts. Some names, obviously the White Sox. They got Michael Kopech, Luis Roberts, and Garrett Crochet, left-handed pitcher. Obviously, the White Sox are going to be sellers. Obviously, the White Sox are, could be one of the worst teams ever, worst records played baseball, 2054. So I think they're all in on selling. We'll see if someone goes for Luis Roberts, who, when healthy, is one of the better center fielders in baseball. He hasn't stayed healthy, and he's going to be a high price tag. So we shall see what that's like with him. Another big name I'm hearing is Josh Bell with the Marlins, which will be a big name, and he will. I'm gonna go out on and say he will be moved, because the Marlins, they just got to win yesterday, but they're in sell mode. So we'll see who the Marlins try to ship off. If it's Chisholm, if it's Jesus, their left-handed pitcher. If it's Braxton Garrett, their left-handed pitcher too. Jazz Chisholm, who's been a big staple in the Marlins organization for a while. So they will be sellers, but I'm for sure Bell will be shipped off and see where he ends up. And maybe the Yankees. I don't know. There's a couple other interesting first basemen that I've been seeing that have been talked about, but I don't know, is Paul Goldschmidt. Obviously, Gold Glove first baseman, unbelievable at the glove and unbelievable at the plate, but it's the Cardinals are still right there, only 7 back at 36 and 37. So will they want to become sellers? Obviously, Goldschmidt's a name. Nolan Arenado is another name being floated around. Obviously, I've heard the Dodgers with that one a lot. Obviously, he's a Southern California kid from Orange County area. So that would be interesting, and obviously that would shore up their third base position. That would be very scary. But that's another name I've been hearing. Also, I've been hearing Pete Alonso, who's his contract is expiring. But if the Mets are close to contention, I don't see that happening. We'll see with Cohen if they want to keep him, or they want to start tearing down and preparing for next off season, where we'll have, Juan Soto will be a free agent, which I hope he doesn't get off the market. I was going in as with Soto this year as a 1-year rental, and now I see him. I'm like, you just pay him what he wants. You give him a blank check and say you have to be here. You can't let that guy walk. He's just too good. A couple other, we got Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is another guy. The Cubs have been rumored to be looking at Guerrero Jr. and Bo Bichette, both of the Blue Jays. So we shall see and we shall see if they move. Also, Tanner Scott's another guy you want to watch, the Marlins closer. Brett Rooker So it'll be interesting. I've heard rumors. They say it's going to be slower, but I think we could see some big names. Obviously, we saw Verlander and Scherzer last deadline get moved. So I think we'll get something going and a couple big names get moved. Uh, but I mean, anybody got any names they think's going to get moved or getting some rumors on? But I mean, it's always an interesting time. See if anybody can impact a playoff race. So we got a couple. Oh, shoot them. Some holds, which kind of I just did a little. They in the AL East are predicting the Rays are going to be the only sellers. The Jays may hold. Blue Jays. They're saying the Red Sox may hold, which will be surprising. But I mean, the Red Sox got a big weekend series. Took 2 out of 3 from the Yankees, and obviously it's not a good look, especially that fan base if you're starting to ship off some players just to get ready for next year. We got the Twins as the only buyer is they're predicting in the Central right now is Kansas City and Cleveland. They're saying that they're going to hold at the deadline, and the White Sox and Tigers start moving, which makes kind of I thought the Twins maybe would make a move, but that's just me. What the hell do I know? We got in the West, AL West, we got the Mariners as a seller, is what they're predicting. Obviously, the Mariners have a nice, comfortable lead right now, 10 games up on the Astros at 44-31. And so they're predicting sellers, and they got Houston and Texas both holding, which I still think Houston might be able to get that division. They kind of scare me a little bit, even though we might have wrote them off a little too early. It's just a well-run organization. I think they'll find to get a way done. But if they do sell, a guy for me to watch is Alex Bregman, expiring contract, good defensive third baseman, good with the bat. Will he be moved? We got the Braves and Phillies as buyers. We'll see if maybe I could see the Braves trying to add a bullpen piece or a starter. Phillies same, adding a bullpen piece or a starter. Mets, they're predicting a holding, so we'll see with the Mets. Obviously, they got JD Martinez there. They got Pete Alonso, who's going to be a free agent next year. So we'll see if they move. Also, Starling Marte. So we'll see with the Marlins and Nationals, both sellers. With the Marlins having some solid guys that they might be able to get some prospects, and same with the Nationals is a hot team on the market. I forgot. In the Central, they're saying Brewers and Cardinals, which is I just thought the Cardinals could be sellers, and they're saying they might be buyers. You're going hold with the Pirates, which Pirates I like watching the Pirates this year. For me, it's a really exciting team. You got two really young pitchers. You got Jared Jones. You got Paul Skeens, which makes it exciting baseball. And Cubs started hot, and now we're kind of falling off a little bit at 36-39. They got the Dodgers as sellers, as buyers, excuse me, and everybody else is holding or buying. I think the Dodgers need to add a third baseman, another bat in that lineup, which is saying a lot. Sorry, guys. I'm going back forth right now. Me being a college baseball scout, I got the Yankees on one. I got the College World Series on the other. So I'm watching that. We got the Florida Gators on right now playing Texas A&M in the first semifinal game. They need to win two out. They have to win the next two. Which is another guy, Jack Caglione. This guy's a freak with the bat. So I'm loving it. I would love to see him one more time. Obviously, going to be a. They're predicting top five. Obviously, with his skill set, he could be number one. If you really view him as a 2A guy, he could easily be the number one overall pick. But I could see that guy in Major League Baseball, you know, next year. But that's just me talking. So, but I mean, it's yeah, oh yeah, the Vols, which this is another interesting thing. There has never been a number one overall seed win the World Series. So Tennessee is number one overall. So we'll see if they can buck that trend and win the World Series in Tennessee. Which, if any of you guys follow college football and think SEC football is dominant, which it is, go watch SEC baseball. It's insane. Or even go watch ACC baseball because four out of the all eight teams were from the ACC or SEC. Four from the ACC, four from the SEC. And so, yeah, Tennessee, we'll see if they buck that trend. Obviously, they're the number one overall seed, and no one's ever won, but they're the best team all year. So we'll see, and I'm looking forward to whoever they play, and it will be an all SEC championship again. But I kind of want to see Florida win. I want to see Jack Caglione because I think this guy's must watch baseball right now. He's the amount of I think he just hit number 73rd career home run. His exit velo off the bat is 117 right now. So I think that's must watch baseball. Obviously, they're struggling right now. It's bases loaded, one out against Texas A&M. But I mean, I going back to the major league ranks, I think it's been a solid year. We got a lot of good teams out there mixing it up. Obviously, I mean, I'm excited because my Yankees are in contention. Obviously, we were 2 games over 500 last year, which is not what you want. So I'm excited, and that's Juan Soto. I was amazed when they were playing the Dodgers and he was out for watching the first 2 games of the series, and I was amazed how much this guy changes the lineup, the dynamics of the lineup, that their offense can't get going. And he didn't even do much offensively last night, and he gets on base 3 times, which I think that's the piece the Yankees have always been missing, a guy who's going to work the count, who's going to find a way to get on base and will get a clutch hit here and there. But I'm excited because, we got a lot, the East is going to be very competitive. And shoot, but Rob's Red Sox are 4 games over 500 right now. So I mean, as much as he was writing them off, they're 2 games out of the 3rd wild card spot, which is interesting. We got the Central, which is looking very solid with 3 teams right there in contention, Twins and Royals, both in the wild card race with the Guardians. Clear, at first right now, the West is way down, but for me, I'm excited. That the NL East is looking solid, and that's always a 1-2, always a 1-2 team last couple years race, between the Phillies and the Braves, and I've back and forth. The Central, very competitive, even though we'll see if the Brewers end up hitting a wall here. But I still, even though they're 7 up, I could see any 4 of those teams ended up winning that division because it's baseball, and you'll get, we're almost getting into the dog days here, where you'll get you'll hit a slump. We're in July, and August, the dog days of baseball, so it's bound to happen. And even though you can give the Dodgers the NL West, we'll see how they handle these two big injuries. But I'm excited, and we're here on July 19th. Baseball's in full swing. My Yankees are looking good, but we don't need to always harp on that. But it's just, obviously it's good parity for baseball, and I'm loving it and watching more and more. Even though I watched a lot of baseball, the show makes me want to watch more and have to, get more knowledge about everybody. Even though I feel my baseball knowledge is solid, but I can always learn. So that's why I love this, and doing this every week is always great. And not just watching the Yankees, but just watching baseball is always great, and it's unbelievable. But I want to thank everybody who joined. This is On Deck here on the Fins Talk Sports Network. I'm Russ Morgan. Thank you, everybody. Make sure to like, share, subscribe. You guys have a good night.